All right. Today is December 31st, 2020. It is 6:06 p.m. I'm in rural Midwest, so that's why you're seeing this log cabin behind me, and we're just processing everything as it comes in regards of the police brutality with Dalal Eid. And yesterday, there were a lot of questions surrounding what happened, and the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry, said that he wanted to, in the name of transparency, release the body cam footage. And we'll get into that a little bit on what body cam footage means when they release it, and what exactly happened, and a lot of the questions that are coming from people, that have just been looking from the outside or been within the community. So just yesterday, around 6 p.m. Dalal Eid, a black Somali man, was shot and killed by Minneapolis Police. They were reported as police from a community response team that essentially is supposed to respond to community needs, as John Elder put it. And John Elder is the spokesman for the Minneapolis Police Department. He was cryptically vague about a lot of the information yesterday, and after we saw the body cam footage, kind of see why. And the vagueness of John, the immediate response of the police to try and shut down the community reaction last night on 36 and Cedar, and then also the police being very they kind of had a code of restraint. A lot of folks that were listening to the scanners saw that the police basically had a code of restraint and said, unless anybody is coming at you, we're not firing nothing. Don't fire nothing. Now they tried to kennel everybody and make a mass arrests. That did not happen last night, thankfully. Yeah, that's what transpired. And there was a lot of conjecture and speculation on different crime watch groups. So there's a bonfire in the middle of the street. These people are, super aggressive. And literally it was people that had started a small fire in the middle of the street to keep warm, because Minneapolis, Twin Cities, one of the coldest major city in the U.S. I'm sure somebody's going to comment and rival that, because y'all be doing that. But it was a community response. And the first question I have for a lot of people that were like, oh, these protesters are down here and they're getting crazy. What did you expect? Did you expect a black man or just somebody to get shot in the head multiple times and for everybody just to go to sleep? What's for those people that thought the protests were aggressive when they weren't? From the footage down there, nobody was flipping or burning anything or breaking anything. What do you think a communal response is? Wait for the potentially edited body cam footage to come out and have the police tell you what the narrative is? The thing that people don't understand is that in a country that has profited from the destruction of lives of color, the way that they do that, or the way that operates, is not only to kill the body or enslave the body, you also murder the character of said body. And in murdering the character, you change the narrative. You say you deserve this. You say you were less than human. You say that your story actually started at slavery. They didn't start anything before that. You guys were never human. In doing that, you dehumanize an entire demographic of people. And this continues to today. In the rhetoric that we heard with Dalal, a lot of people wrote, well, he shot first. Somebody wrote in the Uptown Crime Group, said, well, if you shoot at the police, you're probably going to get shot. Just saying. And for that person particularly, in that entire argument, there's several things going on. And the first thing that I offer you is Jason Michael Messick. And Jason Michael Messick is a white man who fired 40 rounds at cops in Bloomington, Minnesota. What happened to Michael? What happened to Jason Michael Messick? He was brought in alive. He was brought in alive. So if you want to go the route, and this isn't me trying to debunk or, find a backdoor to unravel your argument. The idea is to bring some type of context to it, because in these battles over, you know, police or no police, abolition or no abolition, defund or fund, it's just these sweeping statements made, and there's no context. And when you look at Jason Michael message, this white man fired 40 rounds at police and threw other things at them, and he had just shot his wife, killed 2 other people, and they brought him in alive. He knew what he had done. When we look at Dalal, and this is the thing that just breaks my heart, you're going about your day, and unmarked police cars pull up on you, crash into you, pull guns, and say, get out of the car. You don't know who they are. You don't know what's going on. And the bewilderment that that brother must have been feeling in the final moments of his life are absolutely terrifying. And, you know, maybe there was a fiber of him that knew what was going on. You know, maybe. But in the heat of those moments and exigent circumstances, it's... You're being treated like an animal. You're being kennelled and hunted like an animal. And they pull up on his car in the body cam, and it's less than 20 seconds. They fire off about 15 shots. And last night, when some people said, eyewitnesses said, they shot a black man in the head 8 times, and I posted it. And people were like, whoa, 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 you can't say that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. When you look at the body cam, it's probably more than 8. My count was probably low. The eyewitness account was probably low. And that's that. Jason Michael message fired first. Not only fired first, but fired 40 rounds. Dalal, if, and that's a hefty if, he fired first, was shot 15 times. He won't see his day in court. He won't see justice for himself. His family will never see it. And that's a door that's been closed forever. That's a door that's closed forever. And we can't get that one back. And my advice to folks that have their heart in this and have their spirit in it is really to not answer the trolling and the LOLing and the people trying to come at you with different arguments. You can save that for a forum with your family or a forum with some of your community members that are actually willing to talk and listen. But it's a loss, man. It is a loss, and it is absolutely tragic, and it breaks my heart. And when you see the way that they pulled up on him, there's no restraint in these cops. There's no restraint whatsoever. And the aggression that they bridle, it's unbridled aggression. And I'm just at a loss for words. And it makes me absolutely, makes me sad, makes me angry, makes me, there's just a lot of things. And in that happening, you then have people saying, well, he deserved this. How? Nobody deserves this. You just take race out of it. Nobody deserves to be treated like that by the police. And the police should not have that authority or power to do that with impunity. And the statute of limitations and to just go in and willfully hunt black men in open season lawfully. Something is wrong. Something is entirely wrong. So there were 15 shots fired off, at least, and they killed him. They killed him on sight. They murdered that boy. This video is going to get slightly long, but the other thing is that for people that work in the military, and friends of mine who used to be in the military, they'll tell you that you have to consider your background when you're firing. It is an act of God. Act of God that nobody else was shot. The consideration for the background, and at a gas station of all places, no restraint. The Minneapolis Police Department, the community response, I don't know, like death squad, whatever they are, showed up and just shot into the night. The fact that that person sitting next to Dalal is not dead, I don't know how that works out. Again, I say act of God. And if anybody is in the military, maybe you can speak to this and write in the comments below. In regards of the background that you have to consider before you take a shot, what is that in a scale of 0 to considerate, 10 being considerate? Where was that at for you? Because it looks like they just showed up and they just started firing with no remorse for what was in the background, or somebody else could have got hit. A meeting was held with Medaria Arradondo, the Minneapolis Police chief, and I'll start off with this. Police chiefs have retired and quit for far less. Medaria might have to go. There might have to be new leadership, somebody that's going to go toe-to-toe with Bob Kroll, somebody that's going to actually rein in the Minneapolis Police. Because right now, the Minneapolis Police have a race issue. And it's not just with black people outside of them. It's within their department. And I'll get to that in a second. Medaria Arradondo, somebody asked him at the meeting and said, hey, did you have a warrant for the arrest at the car? He said, I don't know. How do you not know? You're the chief of police. How would you not know if there was a warrant or not? All they had was like a felony investigation, or what I'm reading here, probable cause for weapons investigation. So then how does that turn into guns drawn, get out, get out, get out, bop, 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 bop? What? Where do you draw the line there? So anybody that has a probable firearms investigation, probable cause for firearms investigation, you have your boys just duck out and start like shooting? Is that how that works? And Medaria, as much as people have instilled trust in him for his job, he's probably got to go. And I'm not calling for the end of Arradondo at all. It's just saying you probably need somebody new in leadership. And maybe Arradondo can run for something for like city council or a mayor position. I don't know, mayor, goodness gracious. But something where there's new leadership, because it's not working. Whatever Medaria is doing is not working, because you're getting more of the same, if more violent, shooting with impunity. You also are not firing killer cops. Kyle Ringenberg was in one of the squad cars on 36th and Cedar. Kyle Ringenberg, if you don't know him, he is the cop, one of the two cops that shot and killed Jamar Clark. Why is he still in the force? Why are killer cops still allowed to show up to where other killer cops have killed a new black person? So it's cyclical. It's cyclical now. You have murderers showing up to support murderers. Derek Chauvin showed up to support Mohammed Noor in the Justine Damon trial. You have Kyle Ringenberg showing up to support cops that have just murdered Dalal Eid. And I say murder because that's what happened. And when you want to wait for systems and courts of law to like tell you what you probably already saw, that's giving them the permission to tell you how to go about your own language. And that's just not something I subscribe to, so it is what it is. So Medaria, something new has to happen. Maybe that's not him losing his job, but something new has to happen. A very close source to Dalal Eid said that as they were killing him, a little bit before or after, they had destroyed Dalal's house, flipped it over, caused thousands of dollars of damage, and that there were white cops that were laughing about it. And one of the black cops that was in the raid and had a warrant for to raid his apartment, upon this source, they say the black cops said, hey, can you not laugh about this black man? And the white cops continued to laugh. So when you look at Art Knight being demoted for calling out racism in the force as lightly and subtly as he did, you have a racial divide amongst the Minneapolis Police Department. You absolutely do. It's totally there. And the footage that they showed us was a choice. Anybody in film, what you're shown is a choice as much as what you're not shown. There's more body cam footage. They're not showing it to you for choices. Maybe there's nothing on those body cams. Well, then show us. Show us that there's nothing. But the body cam that we saw, the angle is wonky. It's weird. It's kind of, you can't really see, what goes down, but you do see there's shots from the front, the back, and the side. So when you look at the car, there's two small holes and one giant hole in the windshield that was shot in through that. And look no further than Kobe Heisler, right? When you look at the case of Kobe Heisler was murdered by Brooklyn Center Police, and they showed the family the footage in a closed room, and it was edited, and it couldn't be shown to anybody else after that. So the control over the narrative, we come back to that again. Controlling the narrative. What happened, Arradondo? This, that, and the third. Did they have a warrant? I don't know. It's the same thing that John Elder said at the scene of the crime. A lot of I don't knows, a lot of vagueness, a lot of escapism. And this is to control the narrative and hopefully pacify the people, and then also get folks to kind of, give the pass to the cops and say, hey, they're just doing their job. When really, these are people that showed up, murdered a man in cold blood, and still have their jobs. Nobody's been let off as of now. Nobody's been let go. Nobody's been put on an administrative leave. There's been no measures or precautions for that. So that's there. And then lastly, what I have here is this is me growing up in you know what I'm going to say this. I said this yesterday. It's quite the thing to be a person of color, let alone a black man. And in doing that, there is this feeling, of constant defense mode. Whoa, what are they saying to me? Whoa, I gotta look over my shoulder. And you're in constant defense mode because you've been under attack your whole life. And a lot of black males watching this can most likely empathize with this. It's being born under accusation. It's being constantly under attack, spiritually, physically, mentally, energy-wise. And the attack is on all fronts. The attack is on all fronts, and it's tough. It's really tough to live in those circumstances. And for Dalal, the one thing we'll never know is, how did you feel when they pulled up and just started yelling at you and screaming at you with guns right away? Did you fear for your life? Probably did. Would you? Probably would. Could they have brought in Dalal peacefully? Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that the Minneapolis Police can do better. I have no doubt in my mind that Dalal deserved far better. This one's a hard one to take. This is a really hard one to take. And the doing better is not only not happening, but it's being dismissed. Let's fund these people more. Let's give these people more money. And not even asking for punishment, but asking them to have mental health people show up to mental health situations, to have unarmed cops show up to actually de-escalate things. That's a real thing that could happen. And it's not. It really isn't. And the last thing I'll say is this was a Somali man. This was a Somali man. And growing up in Riverside Plaza, this is going to affect that community. Me growing up in Riverside Plaza in a primarily East African community, there's a lot. It not only affects the city of Minneapolis, not only affects the black community, but it definitely affects the Somali community and the East African community. And my heart goes out to everybody affected by that. And I look to the good folks at CAIR, CAIR, Jelani and Michelle Gross at Communities United Against Police Brutality, to keep the work going and pushing forward on this, as well as the good folks at Racial Justice Network with Nakima Levy-Armstrong. The last thing I'll say to the East African community, the Somali community, is something that Marquise Armstrong said at a march that was happening for Isaac Aiden, a young Somali man who was murdered by Egan, Edina, Bloomington cops. There was a lot of different cops there. But Marquise has this tattoo on his shoulder. And he said, I also am here as a man of Christ, and I show you that Christians can collaborate and be cooperative with Muslims. And look no further than the tattoo on my arm, and the tattoo was a tattoo of Africa. and he said we all come from the motherland. And I can't repeat verbatim what he said because I don't remember because it was like 2 months ago. But I'm here with y'all in solidarity. I truly am, and I hope the healing happens now, and I hope the justice happens now, and I hope the accountability for these officers and these killer cops happens now, because we're getting more of the same, and we're also getting more of worse. It's getting worse, what they did to Dalal. So yeah, I leave y'all with that, and as more things unfold, we'll be talking about it. There's just a lot to dissect here, and sorry for this video going long, but I'll be back in town tomorrow. I love y'all, and I hope that you are healing well. I hope that you're dealing with this this news as restoratively and constructively as you can. I mean, there's not a lot of positives in situations like this, but us coming together as community members and healing and bringing about justice for our brother Dalal is a first step. So I love y'all, and I'll see y'all when I get home.